right, it's Ken back again, and in today's show, we're going to talk about what refunds, criticisms, and complaints have in common and how you can completely eliminate them all from your business. So the big question is this: how is a tiny percentage of entrepreneurs blow the pack away? What are they doing that we're not? I asked myself that question for 10 years. I was failing forward and getting sick of it. I wanted to build a coaching business, but couldn't make any headway. So I started studying them. I realized that the world's most elite marketers, entrepreneurs, and gurus were all using the same 4-step system. I call it the authority factor. On the show, I'm going to prove to you that the authority factor worked for them and it'll work for you. My name is Ken Dunn. Let's get started. All right, welcome back, everybody. So listen, if you've got a business of any sort, then you're dealing with these issues. Criticisms from unsatisfied customers or whatever different reasons, complaints about services or lack of services, and then the all dreaded refunds. I want to talk about these 3 topics right now. But the very first thing I'm going to tell you today, now that you're here and listening to me, is you're not going to eliminate these 3 things from your business ever. You're just not. It's part of the game. But let me give you some good news. It means you're doing well. The first time I heard this advice, it was when I was in Russell Brunson's inner circle, his mastermind group, and we actually spent 2 days just talking about criticisms, refunds, and complaints, things that you get in your business. And it was Russell that first said that. He said, it's part of the business, and it actually means you're doing really well. It means things are on the right track. Now, having said that, we also realized when we were there as a group that if you learn how to track these things properly, if you learn how to properly deal with refunds, complaints, and criticisms properly, it's going to be an amazing tool in your business. In fact, these 3 things are probably the best tool in your business. And so I want to go through each of them individually today and help you to understand how you can use criticisms, complaints, and refunds in your business, and you'll be happy you're getting them, but you can use them to scale your business. I hope you get some valuable information on this. So let's start by talking about refunds. Refunds are an inevitable part of any type of online business. Why? It's because people buy emotionally. People buy your products and services in an emotional state. Whether you like to say it or not, or you like to admit it or not, and whether the criticisms about this are valid or not, the fact of the matter is people will buy because you get them excited. If they're looking for an answer to a problem and you have the answer to that problem, if it's something that they've been trying to deal with and you present them with the answer to that, and then you offer them the chance to buy a product or service from you that can make that thing easier, then they're going to buy. And because they're emotional when they buy from you, when they're excited about it, then you're also going to deal with buyer's remorse. That's that sober second thought that they're going to get a day or 2 later. It's very natural for this to happen to people. When they sit back and they look at their credit card statement, they realize they have no money on their credit card and they see that $997 purchase from you, your online course. And the same is true for anything at all. Any purchase, you see buyer's remorse more in purchases that are over $100 or more. But the fact of the matter is they're there. They cause refunds. The other thing that will cause a refund is, and this is the thing you really want to watch for and track, is some type of bad experience. And so the fact of the matter is, friends, you want to understand right up front that refunds are a part of your business. And the lower your refund percentage, the better off you're going to be. You got to be very careful of your refund rates with, the 2 top platforms that we all use in digital marketing for processing revenue are Stripe and PayPal. And Stripe and PayPal look at refunds as bad marks against your business relationship with those 2 platforms. And so you want to make sure that your refunds stay really, really low, definitely lower than 3% if at all possible. And how do you do that? Well, it's really simple. First of all, you have to have a really good strategy in place for refunds. Part of that strategy is the sales process. Telling people right up front in your sales process about how they deal with refunds. So what we do with most of our products is we give a 30-day money-back guarantee, and we list that in our sales presentations. If we're selling a static product and we have a sales page, it's right on there. And we tell people clearly how to ask for a refund. And we send everybody to one email address, which is our company email address for support. So we send them to that email address. So we say to them, if for any reason you'd like a refund, please process your request for a refund at this email address. And I strongly encourage everybody to do that. If you don't do that, you are forcing people to seek a refund by contacting the merchant processor, Stripe or PayPal or whoever it is you're using. And if you force people to go down that road, they're going to ask for the refund, but then it's called a chargeback. And you're going to waste time having to put in a response to the chargeback and dealing with the vendor. It's just very, very distracting. So we go overboard in our company actually telling people how to get a refund, because I don't want to waste my team's time with dealing with chargebacks. Now, they're still going to happen, and you still have to be judicious, very, very diligent getting back to people about these chargebacks. It's crucial. So what we do, here's the process. When they email us and say they want a refund, the very thing we do is we never argue with their reason. Because here's two things I know. The reason is never the reason, and the reason is never the reason. So 99% of the time, the reason they want a refund is they're broke and they need their money back. They just realize they shouldn't have made the purchase. But a lot of people are not willing to admit that. It's an ego thing. So instead, they're going to come up with reasons like they didn't like the way it looked or the way it felt or the way it, whatever it is. And you have to understand that the reason is never the reason. Now, in my business, it's an info products business. So we actually get every single person who asks for a refund on the phone. We actually tell them, but before we will process a refund, we have to speak to them on the phone for at least 2 or 3 minutes. And we're just going to ask them some questions. We're not going to argue with them. We're not going to try and convince them to go otherwise, which we actually do a little bit. But most importantly, we're just going to ask them, why are they getting a refund? What else is happening? Why did they buy the program in the first place? What is their business all about? And we're going to try and save them. We really are. But more importantly, we want to know the data. We want to know why they're getting a refund so we can continually look at our system and see how we can make things better. One of the biggest reasons that refunds happen in businesses is because there's not a good onboarding process. Most people that are selling products and services online today, they're relying on email primarily to send out a receipt and a next steps guide. Unfortunately, email literally 99% of the time goes to spam and people don't find them and they blame your system, and that starts the bad taste in their mouth. And what we do to help circumvent that, because we realized a lot of the times that was happening, we hired a virtual assistant in the Philippines that we pay $500 a month, and she calls every single person that buys an online program from us. And she makes sure they got their email, and she makes sure they got into the course, and she makes sure they sets up the next step. She even gets them into our Facebook groups. And she literally, I guarantee you, what happened was we had a return rate of about 8% because of that. And then when we implemented the strategy with the virtual assistant, it changed completely. It went down to about 4% within 90 days. So bottom line is this, friends. Refunds are part of the business. You cannot avoid them, but use them to your benefit. Use it as an opportunity to contact and to talk to every one of the people that purchase from you, and you're going to get some unbelievable feedback. Sometimes they're just going to be idiots and you're happy to get rid of them. But other times they're going to give you valuable insights like they did for us on how you can make your process better. All right, next, criticisms. Criticisms. They're so freaking hard. I remember the first time that I got a criticism. I remember Russell Brunson saying, it just means you're doing well. You're going to have haters. Haters are out there. They're all around you. But I'm going to tell you, friends, when your first criticism, typically they will come in social media posts. It's going to break your heart. And that's what it was like for me. It really hurt. when I got those first criticisms, when people started criticizing me and calling me another one of those, online gurus selling products, they just go on, right? Well, you can't stop Karen. Karen is going to be Karen. That's all there is to it. That's why we have a generic term called Karen. And I'm sorry to all the Karens in the world that that's their name, because that's not fair to you. But there are just people that they don't have their faculties in order, and you're not going to stop them from being who they are. It's their personality. It's issues that they have. And the bottom line is, you've got to learn to have a thick skin and just ignore it. The worst thing you can do in the world is respond to them and get angry with them. That means you don't have your ego in track. One of my favorite things to do, if I ever see a Karen or somebody criticizing in a Facebook ad in the content, is I'll reply to them and I'll justify it. I'll say, I'm sorry you feel this way, but here's what's happened. And I'll give them a very detailed response. Yes, I know it takes a little bit of time, but everybody else who ever sees that ad sees that you took it seriously and you responded, but you were positive and upbeat. And they're judging you on that coaching ability. And I think that has, when I see a negative response on some type of ad I'm running, I actually like it, because I truly believe it increases the engagement in that ad when people see it. More people see the comments, they read through them, the negative ones, they read every word of my replies, and it actually leads to more conversions. Last thing I want to talk about, which is similar to criticisms, it's complaints. It's when you receive complaints. When you receive complaints in your business, when people are emailing you actual complaints about your business, it is the best way for you to find out what's working and what's not. I would rather have people complaining about things that are not working than just disappearing and not saying anything at all, because I will never really know what's working and what's not working. Certainly my employees and contractors are not going to tell me what's working and not working. But when we get complaints in, I take those very seriously. Again, I never lose sight of the fact that the reason is never the reason. What we do when we get complaints, number one, we get every one of them on the phone and we calm them down. So at least on their way out the door, they're left with a good feeling. And because what happens is, if somebody has a complaint about your company and you don't interact with that person and try and make lemonade out of a lemon, you're going to leave them in a negative space. And whenever they see you in the future, they're going to be thinking negatively. They're going to become the Karens. They're going to be posting negative things. On the other hand, if you get on the phone with them and you don't try and defend, don't ever try and defend when you're dealing with the complaints. But listen to what they have to say. Take notes. Let them see you taking notes. Ask follow-up questions about it to show that you're interested in it, and then apologize. Now, be very careful. If it is something your company has truly done wrong and it's litigious in nature, in other words, you could potentially be sued for it. Sometimes these things happen, right? Don't apologize, because look, I was a former cop. I'm going to tell you things that probably other people won't. If you apologize, you could be opening yourself up to litigation. You could get sued, and they could use that apology against you. But if it's something really simple, like they never got their emails, I'm really sorry about that. We can't really control email open rates too much, but I totally get it. What can I do to make this better? And ask them that question. And you're probably, like, if you're just getting started and money's tight, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to ask that question because they're all going to want money. A lot of times they don't. I ask that question all the time. What can I do to make this better for you? And a lot of times what they say to me is, you know what, you already have. And I'll still give the refund. What I want to do is I want to quell the complaint. I want to give them a chance to hear from the humanitarian, from me, like there's the humanitarian side of things. And I want that last conversation that they have with me to give them the warm and fuzzies. So that way I'm not creating Karens on the way out the door. And it works, friends. So bottom line is this: refunds, criticisms, and complaints are probably the best business tools you're ever going to get. So use them properly. Hey, it's Ken here. I really hope you enjoyed today's show. Listen, I have been helping people to start online businesses for over a decade now. And I gotta tell you, my favorite topic to help people with is building online courses. And it's something I'm really passionate about. And if you've ever thought about building an online course, then I want to invite you to join me on a very, very special online workshop. I'm gonna show you how to build an online course, launch it and sell it, making money with it in less than 14 days. I'm gonna show you how to then automate the online course. And finally, I'm gonna show you how to turn your students into your salespeople so you don't have to run Facebook ads to scale it and make it 7 figures. It is the best way in the world to duplicate yourself, make the most money possible, and help the most people. The link to my workshop is right in the notes for the show, so check it out. Or you can go to onlinecoursemade.easy.com.